All right. Hopefully y'all all can hear me. Uh, let's see first if y'all can hear me, and then I will call the brother up. Got to make sure y'all can hear me. Um, internet might be acting up a little bit, so we'll see. I don't know if I got a lag or not, but we will see. All right, let's see what's going on here. Hey, Pedro, I'm finna call you. Somebody, can y'all hit the like button or something to let me know if y'all can hear me or not before I call the brother? Can y'all hear me? Hit a like button or something. Can somebody send a message and say I can hear you, or give a like button or something? All right, we can hear you. All right, appreciate that, sis. All right, so Pedro, I'm finna give you a call now. Audio is good. We finna go through some scriptures. Y'all know me. They classify me as a preterist. I believe the whole Bible has been fulfilled, and I believe that's what Scripture teaches. And we finna go over the Word and see what the Word says.
Hello, yeah, let's see what the Word says.
All right, look, he can hear me right here. So here we go. Pedro, come on in, brother.
What's going on, man?
Well, man, another wonderful day. I see since our last discussion, some more issues have been brought up. So we're gonna try to settle them tonight.
Some more issues been brought up, huh?
Yes, sir, indeed.
All right, well, enough of the chit chat. Let's get straight to the Word then.
All right, let's go.
You and me.
You can go first because I don't know your premise that you're trying to drop. So you can go first.
All right, the first thing I want to go to is 2 Timothy 2:17 through 18. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Anybody can hear me? Follow me.
Hold on, can y'all hear him? If you can hear him, let me know.
Let's see where this preterism spirit come from.
Okay.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 17 through 18. Here we go. Their word will eat as though a canker, of whom is Hymenaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some. All right. Now I want to elaborate on that. Like preterism is the exact teaching that Paul was telling us to be aware of in 2 Timothy chapter 2, 17 through 18, when he said that among them are Hymenaeus and Philetus, men who have gone astray from the truth, saying that the resurrection has already taken place, and thus they upset the fate of some.
Sorry.
Note that this scripture was saying that whoever was teaching this was upsetting the faith. What is the definition of the word upset? I'm going to give it to you. To cause, to turn, or to tip over, capsize, or to disturb the functioning, order, or course of, to distress or perturb mentally or emotionally, to overthrow, overturn. See, these two men were the biblical preterists, and these men had a lying spirit in them. A lying spirit. If nobody knows that they have a lying spirit, I'll reference a lying spirit to 1 Kings 22, chapter 22, verse 22 through 23. All right, let me go to 1 King. Matter of fact, let's go to 1 King. See what this lying spirit. Since people don't believe that there is a lying spirit, we're gonna go straight to a lying spirit. 1 King 22. Let me know if y'all there.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
All right. First King 22 to 23. All right. And the Lord God said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also, go forth and do so. 23. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil concerning thee. Those who's not familiar with 1 Kings 22 to 23, that's when the prophet Micaiah, and he was trying to tell Jehoshaphat not to go to war, and he didn't like for Jehoshaphat to come and prophesy to him, because he always prophesied something that he didn't like to hear. See what I'm saying? See, the man of God always tell people. A real man of God gonna tell them what that word says. He's not gonna try to tickle nobody's ears. Some people like their ears tickled. Some people like the preterists. You know, people like their ears tickled. They don't believe in internal damnation that's gonna come from here on out. You know, y'all don't believe that the devil is not roaming around about now seeking who he shall devour. You know, you know. So the prophet Micaiah was an ear tickler, and Jehoshaphat hated to call him because he always prophesied something that Jehoshaphat didn't like. Anyway, so God said He gonna put a lying tongue in his prophets, in Jehoshaphat prophets, because he always wanted to tickle the ear of Jehoshaphat and Jehoshaphat people. But anyway, back to 2 Timothy. So that preterist is a lying spirit. That's the first preterism in the Bible right there that Paul told you to be aware of. All right. Now let's get to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1. We about to nip this in the bud. So we already seeing in 2 Timothy. Wow. That Paul said that among them are Hymenaeus and Philetus, men who have gone astray from the truth, saying that the resurrection had already taken place. Does that what y'all preterism already believe in that? Am I correct? That's what y'all believe. Y'all believe that the resurrection has already taken place, right?
100%, yes.
All right. Now let's go to 2 Thessalonians. Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 3. Let me know you're there. You there? I can't see you. I'm on my phone.
Hold on.
Now, a lot of people like to treat these debates like it's a competition and everything. I don't treat it like it's a competition. I take God's word very seriously. People's souls on the line. Let me know when you get there, brother.
All right, 2 Thessalonians who?
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 1 through 3.
All right, I'm here.
All right. Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, and by our gathering together unto him, that ye be not soon shaken in mind, or be troubled, neither by spirit. What spirit? Be troubled by what spirit? Be shaken in mind by what spirit? That lying spirit we just went to in 1 Kings 22 to 33. Nor by word, nor by letter, as from us, as that the day of Christ is at hand. Saying that the day of Christ is at hand. That lying spirit that we talked about. Verse 3, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. These scriptures speak of being shaken in mind or being troubled by what though? Neither by spirit. In verse 2, what are they talking about? That lying spirit. In verse 3, it start off by saying, let no man deceive you by any means. Why? Why is it saying that? For that day shall not come except there come a great falling away first. And a great falling away first, and that man of sin be what? Revealed, the son of perdition. All right. What is the definition of perdition? 1, loss of soul, eternal damnation, hell. 2, utter ruin. Utter ruin. Now you see, they got different types of preterists. You got the extreme preterists. You got the moderate preterists. It's partial preterists. You got the full extreme preterists that believe all biblical prophecies have been fulfilled, including like things like the Great Tribulation. The second coming of Jesus had already been fulfilled. The bodily resurrection of believers has been fulfilled, and the great white throne judgment has been fulfilled. Do you believe any of those?
I believe all of them been fulfilled.
You believe all of them been fulfilled, right?
Uh-huh.
So you believe all of them been fulfilled, right?
Correct, 100%.
All right. And you also believe, right? And also believe that we're living in the new heaven, in the new earth, right?
Correct.
That's talked about in Revelation 21:4, right?
Correct.
So let's go to Revelation 21:4. Revelation 21:4. This is a lying spirit. All right. Let me know when you get there.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there should be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For former things are passed away. We still have crying going on today. We still have sorrow going on today. People still getting killed today. People still dying. They still have all these evil and wicked things that's going on today. And if God created us for good, if God created us for good things, nothing evil and wicked as the name that I named for is murder. Murder, all this stuff right here don't exist with God. God is not the author of confusion. We still have sorrow going around today. We still have all kind of stuff going on today. Robberies, drug selling, all these type of things that's going on. Corruption in government, corruption in people's household. People can't even trust their own family. You got all these wicked things today, and y'all don't even believe that the devil is not roaming about today, seeking whom he may devour. So you don't believe in the devil also, right? You don't believe, excuse me, I asked that wrong. You believe in the devil, but you believe that he already been judged already. You don't believe that the devil or his minions is roaming around, tempting anyone by their desires, tempting anyone to do any evil today, right?
Oh, you asked me the question?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I believe that the system that Satan had set up and the biblical days is over with, and he has been judged for that. That one major spirit, Satan, and I believe now you just got wicked individuals outside of the kingdom doing what they do.
So you believe that Satan already been judged, and his angels, right? Who was cast down to earth with him? They've been judged already. Now they in eternal damnation in hell, right?
100%. If we're gonna believe that he had angels, then yes.
Okay, well, his minions.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna say his minion then, because he was an angel himself. So so you believe that he's already dealt away with, he's already locked away in Hades, hell, whatever you want to call it. He's already gone. God judged him and he's dealt with already, right?
Correct.
But we still have all these wicked things that's going on today, right? And that, but you only believe that it's people own will and choices that's doing these things. You don't believe it's the devil.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
All right. So now partial preterists believe that Matthew 24 and the book of Revelation only have largely been fulfilled, but you believe that all the things that's been fulfilled. Right? So just the people who listen and who don't know about preterists, they say that it occurred when the Roman army destroyed the temple in 70 AD and killed a multitude of Jews. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, and I'll explain it to everybody once it's my turn to get the full
right. No, right now I'm just asking you questions too, because I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Oh,
Cause that way, I'm not trying to, badmouth you or anybody who had this belief. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, bet. Well, if we're gonna do it like that, I would say that first of all, preterist is just a label that some Gentiles came up with in order to understand the covenant eschatology behind the Bible, and I would say that the so-called label of preterist today is actually the original doctrine that all of the disciples actually had under Christ. So I would say that they actually, if we want to call it preterist, they was actually the first preterists ever out, and the understanding behind that point of view actually left by the Roman Catholic Church and all those Gentiles, and actually came up with these different futuristic views under Catholicism. So I say that anybody that believes in future anything, they learned it from Catholicism, and y'all actually, that's what y'all practice, Zionism and Catholicism, and y'all try to incorporate and use the y'all take the Bible out of its historical documents to push that understanding that you all have. So that's my perspective.
Okay, that's your perspective of what other people believe. But I'm asking you, what are your perspectives, right?
Yeah. Well, Go ahead.
So you believe that all the prophecy took place, right?
Right.
When the Roman army destroyed the temple of Jerusalem in 70 AD and killed a multitude of Jews, right?
Correct.
That's when all the prophecies was fulfilled, right?
Correct. All the ones that wasn't fulfilled at that time. Yes, correct.
Right. So but it's all fulfilled. Judgment came to Satan and all that stuff, right?
Correct.
And all that during that time, 70 AD, right?
Correct.
All right. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's turn to Matthew 24. Let's turn to Matthew 24, because I know a lot than that a lot last time we were talking. I know Matthew 24 be y'all little ace in the hole, right, for this belief, but we gonna break this down, take it apart, and put it back together. All right. And let me see. I'm gonna start at 15. Well, no. You know what? Just for the viewers, I'm gonna start at 4. I'm gonna start at 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign? And what shall be the sign? And what shall be the sign of thy coming And of the what? End of the world. Okay? And at the end of the world, what will be the signs of your coming, and what will be the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. There's people today, and I'm pretty sure all the viewers could go on YouTube and look at all these false Christs around in different parts of the world saying, I am the Christ, and people running there. I am the Christ, and people running here. They have people saying these things today, that I am the Christ, the Antichrist, the Antichrist. Any man claim to be the Christ, ain't no God in him. All right? And ye shall hear wars and rumor of wars. What's going on right now with America, with Venezuela, with China, with Russia? See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet here. Wow. They had rumors of wars back then, before 70 AD, even in 70 AD. But look what Jesus said in verse 6. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, It shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. For Jesus' name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, and love of many shall wax cold, but he that shall endure to the end, and the same shall be saved. Check this out. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. They still have places that need to hear the gospel. They still have places in this world that need to hear the gospel. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, which is y'all holy grail of preterism, the prophet Daniel, the book of Daniel, stand in a holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Brother, they just had people in 2015 in Jerusalem fleeing to the mountains. During the war of Syria out there. That just happened. That just happened in 2015. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Those people didn't even return. They didn't even want to let the people over there in Europe over there when they were trying to flee. Nobody want those people that was fleeing out there. This just happened in 2016. I can pull up the news clip. I can pull up this link in YouTube and show you. Anyway, but that's on you guys if y'all don't recognize that. Recognize the signs. 19. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath. Let me just pause right there. I'm on 20. I'm on 20, right? All right. In verse 15, the abomination of desolation, that time when the Antichrist will set himself up in the temple of God and declare himself to be God. That's in 2 Thessalonians 2. Right? Before any of these things happen, 2 Thessalonians was talking about how a man going to set himself up in the temple of God and declare himself to be God. So, if you believe that in the desolation of the abomination of desolation that they talking about in 15 and what Daniel was talking about came to pass already, then who is this man of perdition? And like I said, y'all, none of y'all could, you, brother Mr. William Bell, could never answer that question. Who is the son of perdition? The Bible strictly talks about a specific person who set himself up in the temple of God and declared himself to be God. And to be God. All right, let me go to verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. He mentioned the time of the great tribulation such as not occurred since the beginning of the world until now, nor shall what? Ever. Nor ever shall be. Wow. All right. Let me go down now. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. There you go again in 23. Christ over here. You got people over there in the Philippines believing this man over here, Jesus Christ. You got this man over here somewhere around Germany or wherever he had, claimed to be Jesus. People running over there. You got people doing that these days, right? For there shall rise false Christ and false prophet, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Where in the Bible, where in the abomination of desolation that you talked about in the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, was any elect deceived? Was there any people claiming to be the Christ? Doing any great signs and wonders back then? I just want to know, just one. 25. Behold, I have to underline that too. Wow. So that's a pretty good question. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Wow. Everybody gonna see this. Wow. 28. For wheresoever, the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. All the tribes of the earth. Not all the tribes of Judah. Not all the tribes of Israel. All the tribes of the earth going to mourn. Why is the tribes of all the earth is going to mourn? Because all the tribes of earth going to see who they've been denying the entire time. Even you, preterists. You know? And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Let me just pause right there and go to Acts. Let me pause right there and go to Acts 1 and 11. Follow me to Acts 1:11. I'm going to put my finger right there and just go to Acts 1:11. Let me know when you get there, brother.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I'm still getting some stuff together.
All right. Can the people see Acts 1:11? I want the people to see the scriptures too. And they might want to write it down and jot it down as well, you know.
Are they hearing you? Y'all, he said, go to Acts 1:11.
I know when you start, I can't see you, but I know when you start talking, because you and Brother Bear, y'all go straight to y'all scriptures and show everybody. But I like all the scriptures I'm talking, you know.
Well, no, he has that program at his house in Tennessee. I'm here in Mississippi. I'm here in Mississippi.
Okay, then we're in Acts 1, everybody. Acts 1, chapter 1, verse 11. And we're going to reference this where I stopped at in Matthew's 24:30. All right. Let's back it up to 10. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. 11, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you to heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him. What? As ye have seen him, what? Go into heaven. Let's back it up a little bit. This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in the like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. The same way y'all seen him go up is the same way y'all gonna see him return. If you look at verse 9 in the same one, he said he was taken up, and a cloud received them out of their sight. He was taken up. 11 said, this same Jesus which is taken up into heaven shall come in the like manner as ye have what? Seen him go into heaven. So yesterday, Mr. Bell said, you and Mr. Bell was talking about a cloud received him out of their sight, so the cloud had them covered so they couldn't see him. This is refuting that what y'all was saying yesterday for the record. For the record. For the record. You lied when you said that a cloud received him and nobody couldn't see him go up or couldn't see him. Because 11 said that which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Now let's go back to Matthew 24:30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the cloud of heaven with power and great glory, just as they seen he was taken up on a cloud in power and great glory. Come on, man. 31. And he shall send his angels with great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four corners of the wind, from one end of heaven to another. Did they do that in the abomination of desolation? No. Did anybody see Christ come back doing an abomination of desolation in 70 AD? No. 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 32. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender, and put forth leaves, ye know that summer is near. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. It's near. It's near. Even at the door. We at the door now. Better get it right. 34. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass. Listen again. This generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. 35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. 36. Jesus finna tell you. 36 finna tell you, but you guys think y'all know more than God. Right? 36. But of that day an hour knoweth no man. So how y'all preterists say Christ came back already? And the Bible saying that no man ain't gonna know. You saying you know already. Is you greater than God? No, I don't believe that. I'm not gonna believe no man is greater than my God. I'm not gonna believe that no man no more than my God. If the word heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. No. Say it again. He said it again to confirm it. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. No. Not the angel of heaven. No. But who? But my Father only. Who is the Father? God. No man, no angels, nobody ain't gonna know that day or that hour. Only God. So who are you? Surely not God. 37. But as the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be.
Where?
For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day of that Noah entered into the ark. Everybody was having a good time, huh? Everybody was turned up in them clubs, huh? Everybody was in that bar, huh? Everybody was chilling. Everybody drinking and all that stuff. Everybody doing their thing. Everybody thinking they saved, huh? Everybody thinking God ain't coming back. Man, ain't nothing gonna happen. All right. 39. They knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. So who they took away? All. Now they just took away just Israel. All. Now they just destroyed the temple. All. The flood came and did what to the world? The whole world. The whole world. And knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. 40. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left. Huh? Was all this stuff going on during did anything happen to the whole world during the desolation? I mean, the abomination of desolation? No.
Can I ask you? Are you gonna go through the whole Matthew 24? Then are you gonna go to another thing? Or
I'm gonna go to another thing.
So what? I mean,
I'm just proving. Hold on, because see, when I was talking last time, you know, brother Bear had the whole mic, and everybody could see that's on here. For 4 hours we were debating, and he went a whole hour and I ain't say nothing. I just let him talk. So, you know, I mean, I got respect like that, though. That's why I was telling him I'm humble. You know?
All right,
y'all kept telling me. But anyway, I'm about to stop. I ain't about to go long. I'm about to stop.
Okay.
I'm about to stop. Because I just really want to see who the son of perdition is. And I want to see the whole world get destroyed when the abomination of desolation came, which we all know the answer to that. All right. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to my. I'm gonna rebut that back to 34. Right? It's a verse back in 33. Even so, to you, when you see these things, recognize that he is near. All right. Now let me go back to 36. Of that day and hour, with no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So how do the preterists know? That's one of my questions too. How do the preterists know? The preterists know. All right. Anyway, Matthew 24:3, it says, "What shall be the sign of thy coming of the end of the world?" Here in verse 3, and the disciples asked for the signs. For the end of what? The world. Not the end of the temple, but the world. They asked for the end of the world. They ain't asked for the end of the temple. They know how to ask for the end of the temple. They said that this man Jesus claimed that he gonna tear the temple down, and in 3 days he gonna build it back up. So they can say temple. So we shouldn't put words in God's mouth. We shouldn't add to the word, which you think that what they meant by it. No, that's why people have that's why so many people confused about this. Okay. All right, so I'm about to go to Matthew 10, and this is my last one. Matthew 10 and 23. And my 10 and 23. Let me see, 10 and 23. All right.
Close the door.
But when they persecute you, in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man come. 24. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. And if you're not above your Lord, you will know that in Matthew chapter 24 to 36, that God says that no man nor angel in heaven shall know it the day or the hour, but my Father only. So I want to know who is the son of perdition before you guys
Close the door.
Yeah, and now you. I want to know who is the son of perdition. I want to know, why did you feel like Satan is wrong? It's not Roman today in the world, seeking who you serve the Bible. And I want to know, if the Bible said that Christ is going to come back the same way he went up. When did that happen? During the abomination of desolation. So, yeah, I don't want to take up all these people's time and your time, brother.
All right, so right now the time is 41 minutes and 22 seconds. All right, so now I want to make a few statements before I start. First statement is dealing with preterism itself. See, a lot of preterists, you know, they believe like I mean, you didn't research a little bit, but until you in the community, you will never really understand the things with preterism, because pretty much everybody is considered a type of preterist. So that by itself, trying to, you know, break up the labels, it really doesn't do nothing for me. But you got to understand with me.
Yeah, I got your question. I ain't gonna cut you off. I know you got to go for it. Yeah, you still got your time. Preterist, in a Greek definition, from preter means past. So in English, it means a past tense. So the belief of preterist, which I researched today in an Oxford dictionary, it's preterist is from the Greek word preter, which means past. So y'all are pastists, and y'all teach pastism.
Right. People believe in the past, and once you read the Bible, which is
right. So I don't believe in the past. I believe in the future. So no, I don't have no preterist. I believe exactly what the word says. I just want to get that fact straight.
Right. Well, if you believe in the Bible, which is all past events, it happened in history, you got to have some type of belief in the past. If not, then you can't believe in creation and none of that stuff out of the Bible, because it happened in the past.
I believe in all of it. I eat the whole roll. Go ahead, brother.
Okay, bet. So now that's the first thing. Second thing is, I consider my preterist and yeah, Mr. Bell, we're not doing that type of debate. We're doing the type that we do you know, not structured out. So I'm just gonna give what I believe. But the type of preterist that I am compared to everybody else, I'm a Hebrew. So I believe that in order to understand the Hebrew mindset, you got to go into all of the Hebrew documents. So I'm going to take us through some Hebrew documents first. And then on top of that, I'm going to go through some of the scriptures that you went through in order to pretty much formulate more of the ideology that I have. Because once again, unlike other preterists, I go inside of other books like Jubilees, Jasher, Enoch, and to pull information from that also. So I have a lot of things that I want to touch on. So first of all, I want to touch on this end time, because or the time of the end. I'm finna pull from different Hebrew sources to show you that everybody thought the time of the end was going to come during the 1st century under the Roman Empire. So let me start pulling different information to show you that. First of all,
is that information in the Bible though?
Well, once again, I'm going to go through the information that I can pull that goes along what I feel with the Bible.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. We want to hear the Bible. We want to.
Well, I'm going to correlate.
Whether it's apocryphal, okay, I can do apocryphal.
Well, you can't tell me how to do my argument. I didn't tell you how to do yours, because once you was breaking down Matthew 24 and you was talking
that scriptural context.
Right.
So,
well, listen, because I didn't interrupt you. So once you was breaking down Matthew 24 and you was trying to make it go with today's time, and you said I can pull it from what happened in 2015, which is not in the Bible. I didn't say, no, you got to keep it straight in the Bible. So I'm going to use my outside information that I feel is actually biblical, but you might not. So the first thing first, I want to pull from, and y'all, I'm going to try to make this as fast as possible. First thing first, I want to pull from Enoch, because I believe in Enoch. Enoch, once again, you can check the dating of Enoch. Enoch was, hold on.
Enoch, not the Enoch that ascended to heaven. That Enoch that's written in that book, which I have, that Enoch, that guy was alive in the 19th century.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. But now,
no, he on the back, the book of the Enoch, the name of the author, Enoch.
Well,
the author that wrote that book, the book of Enoch that you're reading right now.
Well, I'm talking about the Enoch that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that's the one I'm talking about. So now, so if he's been living those thousands of years, I need some of that blood. So now I'm going to go through that Enoch that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, so now the first thing about Enoch is Enoch 1 and 1, which, I mean, all y'all got to do is research it yourself. You don't got to take my word for it or his word for it. Just research it. Enoch 1 and 1, the word and the blessings of Enoch, which he blessed the elect and righteous who will be living in the day of tribulation. So first of all, the book of Enoch, most of it was written for the people living in the day of tribulation. Very important, because we're going to hit the day of tribulation later on. When we go to Enoch, once we go to Enoch, oh my brother, I did not interrupt you, man. You stopped my flow.
I'm not interrupting, but I'm just saying this for the people who watching too. How can we follow you on something that we don't have? We have the 1611 King James Bible.
Okay, well, I'm gonna. Well,
how can we follow you
on
Bible?
Well, thank you. I'm gonna read it out loud. Okay, so now.
Oh my God, that's not how you gonna debate with sources. You know what I'm saying? People don't know about the Bible.
Okay, y'all. So once again, I don't tell him how to do his, so he cannot tell me how to do mine. I'm just showing.
We're trying to hear a Bible, brother.
Okay, please just let me go. Okay, I'm a Hebrew, so I believe all of the Hebrews, and if y'all actually once again research, you'll see that the Bible actually pulled from Enoch over 200 times. So now, Enoch 1 and 9, and I'm just gonna read to y'all the statement, and y'all can research it yourself. It says, and when the sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and their consummation. So when they was reading Enoch thousands of years ago, they came across this verse, and this verse tells them that 70 generations from Enoch, the judgment and the consummation of the age was going to happen. And guess when you go into Luke, the generation of Luke, once you count 70 generations past Enoch, guess what generation you come to? Christ's generation, first century generation. So that's one source for everybody understood that during that generation, which is the first century generation, that they had a mindset that judgment and the consummation was going to occur. Okay, that's one thing. I'm finna keep going now. Just that one source outside, because preterists don't pull from Enoch. I do. So that's one from Enoch. So now, once you go, and I'm gonna keep this flowing, y'all. Once you go into the book of Adam and Eve, which was created in the 7th century, this gives you what they was thinking about in the 7th century. I'm just gonna read from chapter 38, because preterists don't pull from the book of Enoch. I mean, the book of Adam and Eve. I do. I do my research. So now it says, when 5,500 years are fulfilled, after these words of God came to Adam and said, O Adam, as the fruit of the tree of life, for which thou asked, I will not give it to thee now. But when 5,500 years are fulfilled, then I will give thee the fruit of the tree of life, and thou shalt eat it and live forever, thou and Eve and thy righteous seed. So the tree of life was given in when? Judgment Day, Revelation. So the Most High told Adam, this is the mindset that they had in the 7th century, that 5,500 years from Adam's birth was going to be judgment, and then them getting the tree of life. So once again, this is what, 7,000, 8,000 years past that time. So once again, the book of Adam and Eve shows that they thought that judgment was going to occur during that first generation time era instead of our era today. But I will continue to go on. I'm just giving the background of how people want to Google preterists and try to say that this is this and that, when preterism is if it's not ordained from the Most High anyway, then it wouldn't be no things backing it. So now I'm going to give a couple documents to back it. So I gave Enoch, I gave a book of Adam and Eve. So now I have a book called The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. This is a encyclopedia, right? Page 24 of the encyclopedia, I'm just going to read what it says. Once again, this is by Gibbon. He's not a preterist, he's a historian. So let's see what the historian says. It was universally believed that the end of the world and the kingdom of heaven was at hand. The near approach of this wonderful event had been predicted by the apostles. The tradition of it was preserved by their earliest disciples, and those who understood in their literal sense the discourse of Christ himself were obliged to expect the second and glorious coming of the Son of Man in clouds before that generation was totally extinguished, which had beheld this humble condition upon earth, and which might still be witness of the calamities of the Jews under Vespasian and Hadrian. So once again, now we have a quote from an encyclopedia, a historical document called The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Once again, page 24. We have a quote that says that it was taught, it was common belief that in the first century, Christ was going to come back on clouds before that generation was extinguished. So once again, this guy wasn't a preterist either. This is a history book. So to try to use Google or whatever people use to say preterists believe this, and that, no, some of us actually do research and some of us actually read. That's how I was able to pull from 3 different sources. So now I want to hit the Bible now. Let's go to the Bible now, because the brother hit on Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, and what was it, 2 Timothy, I believe. So I want to hit that Timothy first. Okay. Once you go to Timothy 1:1 and 1:2, it says, Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ, by the commandment of God our Savior and Lord Jesus Christ, which is our hope, unto Timothy, my own son, in the faith, grace, mercy, and peace from God our Father and Jesus Christ our Lord. So now, when is Paul talking to Timothy? Well, if everyone listened to dates and times, we know that the date was between 64-5 AD. In other words, first century. So this is a conversation going on in the first century between Paul and Timothy. So let's see what he's telling Paul, what Timothy back then in the first century. He says, verse 17, and their word would eat as doth a canker, of whom Hymenaeus and I think it was Philetus, whatever his name is. These are people that lived in the first century. So let's see what these first century people were saying, whose concerning the truth have erred, saying that the resurrection is past already and overthrown the faith of some. So now, they were telling people, because once again, the brother kept saying 70 AD. We saying everything happened 70 AD. So if they listen to the logic by default, because I'm a very logical person, by default, if they are telling people the resurrection had occurred before 70 AD, and we're saying that the resurrection occurred at 70 AD, then yes, they would be teaching false, because they are teaching before the resurrection actually occurred. And I want to go to the resurrection just in a second also. But I also want to hit 2 Timothy 4:1. This is what's said. I charge thee, therefore, before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. So, where do we find him judging the quick and the dead at his appearing. Well, once again, this is a resurrection passage, right? Correct. So now, let's go to Matthew 16, 27 and 28 to give a better time statement of when Christ actually said this was going to occur. So once we go to Matthew 16, 27 and 28, let's notice what he says. Matthew 16, 27 and 28 says, for the Son, I want to go to verse 24 first. Then Jesus said unto his disciples. So right now, we got to understand that Christ is actually talking to his disciples. So let's see what he tells his disciples. Verse 27. For the Son of Man shall come in glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. So now we see that that Christ is telling his disciples that this judgment was going to come from him. The same thing we see in 2 Timothy, him saying that the Lord Jesus Christ is going to come and judge the quick and the dead. But let's see verse 28. Verily I say unto you, who is he talking to? The disciples. There be some standing here. Standing where? Right there in front of him. Just like if we all having a conversation and we say, some of y'all standing here will I will buy some of y'all standing here food tonight. And if somebody hear this thing 2,000 years from now, we're not saying that we're going to buy somebody 2,000 years from now some food. We're keeping it in the audience relevancy. So now he says, verily I say unto you, disciples, there be some standing here in front of me, which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. So he already told them that some of them will be alive when he came in his kingdom with judgment. But he did not give them the day and hour. He just gave them the generation. That's why in 2 Timothy, they could have made the claim that the resurrection occurred in the first century because they understood that this was going to happen during their generation. They just jumped the gun because they did not allow all of the prophecies that Christ gave to come to pass. So once again, let me say it again. That's why in every letter that you pull that someone was erring in faith in the first century was because they understood that the first century was the consummation of all things. That audience in the first century understood that. So now let's keep going back to this resurrection and this tribulation time. I want to read Daniel 12 and 1, right? Because this is a resurrection passage also. In fact, this will be one of the resurrection passages that everybody was pulling from. So now, I want to read Daniel 12 and 1 out of the Septuagint because, once again, I have a Septuagint and I believe in using all of the information I could come across, not some. So now, Daniel 12 and 1. At that time, Michael, the great prince, shall stand up that stands over the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of tribulation, such tribulation as has not been from the time that there was a nation on earth until the time at that time thou people shall be delivered, even everyone that's written in the books. You see, I like the Septuagint because the Septuagint was it's actually older than the Masoretic text. First of all, second of all, it was translated from the Jews into Greek, and guess what your New Testament is translated into? Greek. So you have one flow. So this tribulation that Daniel is speaking of, dealing with the resurrection, because let's go to verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life and some to reproach and everlasting shame. That's the resurrection right there, right? The resurrection was supposed to occur during the tribulation period, correct? In 2 Timothy, he said that the Lord is coming to judge those quick and dead, which is also another resurrection passage. So now, let's see what Christ has to say about this tribulation period. Because Daniel first said the tribulation period was going to occur and during the resurrection and all of that stuff. So now, in Daniel's prophecy, we have 4 beasts, right? We have Medo-Persia, we have Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. So for the people out there, when did the tribulation period had to happen and the resurrection? During the Roman Empire, during the 4th beast. It cannot happen during the 3rd beast. It cannot happen during the 2nd beast. It cannot happen during the 1st beast. This is called a timeline. That's why Daniel was so important when people pulled prophecy, because he gave the timeline. So now, that timeline of the 4th beast, when this tribulation period had to occur, the resurrection had to occur also. So where do we go to find the 4th beast timeline, which is Rome? You go to the New Testament, because the New Testament was under Rome's rulership, which was the 4th beast. So now, let's see what Christ has to say about this tribulation period. So now, let's do a recap. Christ has already promised his disciples that he was going to return for judgment and his kingdom during their generation, right? Paul has also told Timothy that Christ was coming during their generation. Well, he didn't say their generation. He just told them that he was coming to judge the quick and the dead. So now, let's see if we can put a closer lock on that generation, because my brother actually pulled from Matthew 24, but I want to pull from Matthew 24 in biblical concept. And later on, if I have time, to actually pull the history behind it, because there's so much history behind it that we can actually see inside of Josephus as well as regular history. I can hit that, which Josephus was a 1st century priest who recorded things that happened in the 1st century. So now, Matthew 24, and I want to read 1 through 3. It says, and Jesus went out. In fact, I have a I have a complete Jewish study Bible, right? What that does is it puts the Hebrew mindset in Greek. It makes the Hebrew mindset overlap the Greek, because people think it was actually lost out. So the Jewish mindset actually came up and created the Bible. So I have the complete Jewish study Bible right here. You can get it offline for about 30-40 bucks. But anyway, it says, as Yeshua left the temple and was going away, his Talmudim came and called his attention to its building. So now, this was the temple standing in the 1st century. But he answered them, you see all these. Yes, I tell you, they will be totally destroyed. Not a single stone will be left standing. Verse 3. When he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the Talmudim came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will these things happen? And what will be the sign that you are coming and that the Olam Hazeh is ending, which is age. Look it up. OLAMHAZEH. Hebrew for age. So now, and you can go into other scriptures that, not the Masoretic text, but the updated version. The updated version, which is the New King James Version Bible, as well as any other Bible, it actually has age there too. So they're wondering what will be the sign. What will be the sign of the destruction of the temple, his second coming, and the end of the age? So now, Christ started listing all of the signs. So I'm just going to go through a few of those. Huh? Okay, I'm going to go through a few of those signs. I'm back in the KJV now. And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. We see that deception happening in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3, which is what? A 1st century occurrence under the Roman Empire. So now, verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumor of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So now, what's going on here? What is Christ giving them? Christ is answering questions. They gave him 3 questions, and he's answering them. So you can say right now he's either answering them, when will the signs be? Or he's answering them, what will be the sign of thy coming? Or he's answering them, what will be the end of the age? What will be the sign of the end of the age? You can pick the one that you want. I say that he's answering all questions in chronological, well, not chronological order, but I'm not saying he's answering them in chronological order, but I'm saying he's answering all questions. So now,
you got all answers,
well, anyway, so now let me keep reading. So now he's telling them what to look for dealing with the destruction of the temple. Okay, so now he says, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So people who are futurists want you to believe that this is talking about today's time. But in context of the scriptures, this is talking about what will be the sign of your coming, tell us when these things will be, and of the end of the age. So Christ is telling them things about the temple. People want you to say that Christ is telling you things about 2019. No, sir. So I never stopped you. Never stopped you. Hey, I'm gonna keep going just a little bit, then I'll let you have it back. So now, let's keep going. So, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. So, once you see wars today, the same thing happened today. When people, what right now is somebody declare war on the United States of America, what's going to be said? The end of the world is about. That's what people are going to say, because we pretty much are at a little bit of peace here in America. We haven't had a word about anybody coming over to attack us for a while now. I think since Pearl Harbor. I might be wrong, but I think since Pearl Harbor. But anyway, he's telling them, because at this time, Rome was at a time of peace. Rome was living in a time of peace. Rome was the world power when nobody messes with Rome. So once you start hearing about these wars and rumors of wars coming up, then you're going to start thinking things are going awry. This is what Christ was talking about. But Christ said, once you see that, disciples, that's not the end yet. So now, I also want to hit that, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Once you go to Revelation 6, I'm going to read Revelation 6, 4, 5, 7, and 8. So we can see where John the Revelator pulls some of his information from. Because Revelation is about the revealing of Christ. We're reading a prophecy from Christ. So let's see what Revelation is actually talking about. So once you go to Revelation 6, I'm going to read 4, 5, and 8. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereupon to take peace from the earth, and they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, a black horse, and he that sat upon him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I want to go to 7 and 8. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. Matthew 24 and 7, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Seeing the same exact thing, John is saying it in revelation form. John is saying it in vision form. Christ is saying it in prophetic form. But verse 8, and these are the beginning of sorrows. Verse 9, And then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you should be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Let's go back to Revelation. Revelation 6 and 9. And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of God and for the testimony they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on earth? We're seeing a big correlation between Matthew 24 and Revelation 6. But now let's keep going on. 10, and they shall be offended, and they shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 2. And then I'm gonna skip ahead because I can go through each one of them, but I'm not gonna do that to everybody. But it says, let's see, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 2, and I want to read 2 and 3. That you be not soon shaken in mind or troubled, neither by the Spirit, nor by the word, nor by the letter, as from us, that the day of Christ is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So now, we see the falling away occurring right here, being prophesied, Matthew 24 and 10, and then many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. So this is the falling away. But when is that falling away happening in Matthew 24? During the destruction of the temple. So now, verse 11, and many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. What's that? Acts 20, 29, and 30? Let's see here. Acts 20. And I'm telling y'all right now, y'all don't really have to go outside of the Bible in order to understand the Bible. The Bible actually explains when everything occurs. But if you want to go into history, because the brother said, when can we pull this in history? I can pull it out of Josephus if I have time in my second response. But I can pull it out of Josephus to show the exact same thing. Acts 20, 29, and 30. For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flock. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples after them. So we're seeing the same thing being said. We got the false prophets arising and deceiving many, and we have them saying the same thing, that this is what's going to happen, that people are going to come up amongst you, first century audience, not us, 2019, and they will draw away many disciples from the faith. But anyway, and because iniquity shall be abound, the love of many shall wax cold, but he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. Well, my brother says it's still people who has not heard the gospel, and my response to that is the Bible wasn't talking about today. The Bible was telling them what to look for in the first century. So now, let's go to a first century text and see the fulfillment of that. Let's go to Colossians 1 and 23, which is, once again, a first century text under the Roman Empire. Let's see here. I think I got 7 more minutes. So this is a first century text under the Roman Empire. Colossians 1 and 23. Give me 1 second to pull it. Colossians 1 and 23 says, if ye continue in the faith grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Paul, am made a minister. So we have Paul saying that by the time he was around, that every creature under heaven had received that same gospel that Christ said had to go throughout the world. So I don't know if we can separate every creature under heaven from the world, but I would say, once again, there's another first century fulfillment that before the end came. So now, And when you therefore shall see the abomination spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains. The brother said that this happened in 2015. I say once you go into history,
I still got things like that
right,
happened.
in 2015.
Like
Right. So now, So now I say
once. I don't know the time. You say you know the time already.
Right. So I'm trying to give it. So now what I'm saying is, once you go into history, you know that this happened during 70 AD when the Romans sacked Jerusalem. In fact, my Hebrew Israelite brothers say that this is the time that the Hebrews fled into Africa. So this is the fleeing into the mountains, dealing with the destruction of the temple. So now, let's see what it says. It says, let him which are on the housetop not come down and take anything out of the house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. So why are they not returning back to take their clothes? We're going to see in just a second. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. What days are those days? The days that the army is coming to sack Jerusalem. We will see that in just a second. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then, for when? For then shall be great tribulation. So now, this goes right back to Daniel, who said, watch for the tribulation period. This is when Michael's going to stand up and the resurrection occurs. Then is great tribulation, such as not was since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor shall there ever will be. This is not talking about 2019, the 21st century. This has nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade. Christ said that this time, dealing in Jerusalem, being sieged, was going to be that time of tribulation since nobody has ever seen. So let's keep going. And except those days be shortened, there should be no flesh saved, but for the elect's sake, there shall be the day should be shortened. I want to skip down because I got what's that? 7, 18, 19, 21, 5 minutes. I want to skip down. It says verse 29. For wheresoever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give off her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. So immediately after those days, this is when this occurred. Once you go to Revelation 6, once again, to show you that Revelation is only about 70 AD. Once you go to Revelation 6 and verse 12, you see, and now beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell from the earth, even as a fig casts her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island was moved out of their place. This is during this happens immediately after the tribulation of those days. Once again, Revelation about 70 AD. So now, and it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all of the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So now, people will say, okay, the whole earth, the whole entire planet was supposed to see this happen. Let's see where he pulled that from. Let's see where Christ pulled that from, because Christ knew prophecies, right? Of course he did. So once we go to Zechariah 12 and 10, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him that is in bitterness for his firstborn. And there shall be great mourning in Jerusalem, and in the morning of Hadramon in the valley of Megadon, which is pretty much Armageddon. So now, Christ pulled from a prophecy that says the house of David in Jerusalem would see it. Later on, he says all tribes of the earth What earth is he at? Christ is right now inside of Jerusalem, giving a prophecy about what's going to occur during 70 AD. He pulled from Zechariah that said everybody in Jerusalem of the house of David, which will be the Jews, which will be Levi, Judah, and Benjamin, would see him. So now, and the trumpet sound of a great trumpet shall gather together his elect. Verse 34, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. So Christ just told the disciples everything he just named, all things from verse 1 all the way to verse 34 will not pass. Well, sorry, that generation will not pass until everything he named from verse 1 through 34 be revealed. And for my last 2 minutes, I'm going to go through the parallel text in Luke 21. In Luke 21, and I'm going to read it out of my Jewish Bible once again. And then when I'm done, I turn it right back over to you. So I'm going to read this out of my Jewish Bible again so we can get the Jewish mindset of what is being said here. Luke 21, and I'm going to start at 20. However, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then you are to understand that she is about to be destroyed. Who was going to destroy Jerusalem or Jerusalem? The Roman army. Those in Yehuda must escape to the hills. Those inside the city must get out, and those in the country must not enter it. For these are the days of vengeance, when everything that has been written in the Tanakh will come true. I'm going to read it in the Masoretic text, and then I'm done. Luke 21:20 through 22 now. When you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, he's talking to the disciples, first century generation. And when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not. Matthew 24 said the abomination of desolation. Luke 21:20 says the army causes the desolation. That's why we got to read the Bible to go through and get the entire understanding. What happens? Luke 21:21. Then let those which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let them that are not in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. What is he talking about? Luke 21:6. And for these things which you behold, the days will come in which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be, and what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? So I believe Christ. Christ said during the destruction of the temple, all things will be fulfilled. So me, as long as with all of my preterist brethren believe what Christ said is true. So if futurists don't believe that and try to say Christ lied, that's on y'all. But I'm done, and you can take over.
Nah, you're done? You need a couple more minutes?
No, I did the same 42 you did.
All right, now I'm going to make this short and sweet because I know people tired of hearing us doing all this babbling and stuff. So I'm going to get straight to the point. I got 3 questions. That's all I got for you, brother.
Okay.
All right. Who is the son of Preterism?
Well, first of all, I'm just going to answer this as quick and plainly as possible.
And the reason I asked that because in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, before all these things took place, the son of Preterism is going to be revealed, right? First. That's what the word say, right?
Hold on, let me get there. 2 Thessalonians, what now?
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
All right, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Okay, I'm there.
All right. Good.
Uh-huh.
That's what I was saying. Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come except there come a great falling away first. Right? So that day of the desolation of is finished, the destruction of the temple, it shouldn't come to pass except a great falling away first, right? And not just that first, but and that the man of sin be revealed.
Okay.
The son of perdition. So, since you know already, since that happened already, who is the son of perdition?
Well, I would like to answer that question in two ways. First of all, it was written to the Thessalonians, not us, to determine what was going on in their historical time. This is a first century thing, so it was written to the Thessalonians, not me or you. So they would understand who he's talking about. It's not meant for us to understand that. But
no, you can't say that now. You're contradicting yourself now. You can't say that now. You're contradicting yourself. If you could go back from prophecy 7,000-8,000 years ago, if you could go back to all that and go back to the book of Daniel and talk about the same prophecy being fulfilled in 70 AD during the destruction of the temple, what you mean we can't go back 1,900 years ago, 70 AD, and tell me who was the revealed son of perdition?
Okay, well,
all
right, bet. And this is the answer. This person was sitting in the temple of God, which was the first century temple, according to verses 4 through 8. So now that temple is gone. So you tell me who it is, since we should know every person. Exactly.
They saying these things happen. See, God said no man know the time or the hour. Only God knows.
Okay,
you saying that you know already.
My bad. Let me.
You claim that you already answered that question already. You know this.
I bet.
I let you do all that talking. And I ain't want to butt you because there was a lot of things I could have stopped you on, but I didn't. So since you know all these answers already, who is the son of perdition?
Okay.
He said that before this thing happened, he's going to be revealed. So who is he?
All right. For the okay. For the first thing, I would like to say that no man knows the day or the hour. That deals with temple typology, dealing with the Jewish festival. So you're using that out of context, totally out of context. So,
I'm not using that out of context. I'm using that I'm talking about the destruction of the temple, like you said already came to pass.
Right. So right. So right. But this is what I'm saying. When Christ told them that prophecy dealing with the Jewish feast days, they did not know the exact day or time the destruction of the temple was going to occur. We know now because it's our history. It was their future, so they didn't know. But I want to answer that with verse 7. It says, "For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, and only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way, and then shall the wicked be revealed, who the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." So obviously, this person was living in the first century if his iniquity, that mystery of iniquity, was already working.
I hear you saying all that and going around all this, and you still ain't saying nothing.
Okay, once again. Okay.
God said that the son of perdition going to be revealed before this, but that you believe that the destruction of the temple in 70 AD.
Okay.
You're saying all this and all that, and you're saying you don't know.
Okay. What I'm saying is,
all these people listening to you, brother, trying to get an answer.
All right. Everybody who's listening to me, listen. The exact person does not matter.
What? Oh, Jesus said it mattered.
No, Jesus didn't.
Said he's gonna be revealed.
No, Jesus didn't say it. This is Paul talking. This is Paul talking.
You calling Jesus Christ a liar?
No, I'm saying that this ain't Jesus talking. This is Paul talking. First of all.
Hold on now.
Okay, let's hold on.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on now. We could go to John now.
Okay.
We go to John. We go to John 17 and 12.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
John 17 and 12 said, while I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me, I kept. And none of them is lost, but the son of perdition. There you go again. Perdition. that the scripture might be fulfilled. You saying that it's been fulfilled. Who is that son of perdition Jesus talking about? Who is that son of perdition that Paul is talking about? So don't say that. Don't try to put that on Paul.
All right. Well. Once you follow logic, then you see that one is. I know. That's the problem. So when you see one is talking about Judas, and the other one is talking about somebody sitting in the temple. Two totally different time periods.
Brother, you cannot fix that now, brother.
Okay, once again. Okay, let me say it again. All right, let me say it again. Okay, well, let me say it again. Now, you want me to be stuck, but let me say it again. What John is talking about is a totally different person than what Paul is talking about. Okay, let's just say it like that.
What?
Okay, it's more than one son of perdition. Anybody that did that was perdition.
I ain't talking about John, I'm talking about Jesus, bro.
What John was saying in John's verse, in John's Bible, that thing that John was hitting on in John's book, when John's book, what he was talking about is different.
John was saying Jesus said this, right?
Well, my Bible say the book of John. So John's book is different from what. Hey, once again, I mean, we can laugh. See, this is the difference between people who study and people who don't. People who don't wants to laugh and joke and kid. Everybody, listen. Go to the John thing that he pulled. Go there that he pulled, and then come to 2 Thessalonians, what he's talking about, and you guys see if this is the same person or not. That's what y'all do.
So you're saying that Paul wasn't ordained by Christ?
I'm saying Paul is not talking about what John is talking about. I'm saying John is not talking about what Paul is talking about. I'm saying John is not talking about what Paul is talking about. That's what I'm saying.
What Paul was talking about? Who was the son of perdition that we're talking about with Paul?
The son of perdition that Paul was talking about was the one who was already working in 2 Thessalonians. Did he give a name? Did he give a name?
The Bible said it's gonna be revealed. You know why? Because Paul was still talking in future tense.
Did he? Okay. Well, once again. Well, can we let the Bible talk and not me or you? Let's let the Bible talk. Okay. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. That's 2 Thessalonians 2:7. So the Thessalonians would have known who this mystery of iniquity was. Do you know who that mystery of iniquity was? Of course you don't.
I'm telling you, it's not making sense.
Well, everybody out there, do I make sense to you all?
All right, I got another question. I got another two questions.
Do I make sense to y'all? Okay.
Since you can't answer that question, let me go to this one. When did anyone see Christ return in the same manner he left?
In the clouds? In the clouds?
When did anybody see Christ return in the same manner that he left?
All right. Give me 1 second, all right? All right, would you like an answer?
I'm waiting on you.
All right, bet. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Let me go through some information real fast. I should have it within the minute. All right. We are... All right, hold on. I'm around it. I'm trying to read real fast. Temple set on fire, the Zealots, the green fulfillment of ancient prophecy, lamentation of Joseph. Hold on. And let me say the quote. All right, we got Hold on. Give me 1 second.
Man, it sounds like you're on an old school typewriter.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's let this site pull up real fast. This will be.
Can't let the Bible pull up real fast.
Oh well, you want to know where it was seen at? So let me show you in history.
In history.
Yeah, history. See, once again, thank you because I read. Thank you. So now you go to Josephus, and I'm going to do a quote out of Josephus, and it says on the 21st day of the month Artemius, which is Jar, a certain prodigious and incredible phenomenon appeared. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable were it not related by those that saw it, and were not the events that follow it as so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals. Before sunsetting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about among the clouds and surrounding of cities.
What you talking about, man?
Okay.
That don't sound like Matthew 24 and 30.
Okay, for everybody who since he didn't get it, for everybody, let me explain it to everybody out there just listening. No, we're not going to try to get away. No, we're not. We're not going to do away with it. We're not going to throw it away like I just didn't find it to debunk that. So we're not going to throw it away. In Josephus, it was said. Okay. All right. So once again, in Josephus, it was said that there was a okay. Once again. Okay, and once again, in Josephus, which Matthew 24 and 30 was about 70 AD, so Josephus said that they saw angels riding around in armor on the clouds surrounding the cities. Once you go to Revelation 20, was it 21, 22, when Christ comes back with the clouds, with power surrounding the cities. So now, if
hold on, did all the earth mourn?
What Zechariah 12 and 10. Zechariah 12 and 10 said this was going to be Jerusalem. So I got all the answers.
That don't sound like that's not Matthew 24.
Matthew 24 and 30 pulled from Zechariah 12 and 10. You can't do one without the other, brother. I'm sorry.
All right, you can't answer that one either. All right, so we don't.
But
you can't answer that. I'm gonna go to the next question.
But the people are liking it, and they like my answers.
The next question
Y'all hear it?
Have you seen the kingdom?
Yes.
You said you seen the kingdom, right?
Yes.
Was you baptized?
Yes.
In the name of Jesus and water?
Yes.
So how did you see the kingdom?
Are
you in the kingdom?
I'm in the kingdom.
What kingdom you in? The kingdom of Christ that he was talking about?
Yep.
Explain how you're in the kingdom. That's what I want to know.
Well, I'm in the kingdom the same way that John was in the kingdom.
What kingdom?
Under the gospel.
The new earth and the new heaven?
Well, let's see here. Y'all see I answer everything with either history or the Bible. So let me pull from the Bible. Revelation 1 and well, I mean, they hearing it. They hearing it. You might not hear it, but they hear it. It might not be the way that you want it, but they hear it. So Revelation 1 and 9. I, John, who am also your brother and companion in tribulation. So John lived during the tribulation period also. And in the kingdom and patience of Jesus Christ. So John was in the kingdom in the first century under the patience of Jesus Christ and his gospel. Therefore, I am under that same gospel that John was under in the kingdom, like John was, according to the Bible. Now, that's the Bible.
But you surviving off of so many different books. I don't know what to believe.
I know.
What to believe you talking about? You coming from a world history book to give it, and page 44 that you read that was talking about the end of the world was at hand, not saying the end of the world came.
No. See, that's what happens when we don't read. We don't listen to the whole thing. That's what happens when we don't listen to the whole thing.
And then you came from the book of Enoch.
Correct.
That's not even in the Bible. They're talking about Nephilims and how Satan, the serpent seed theory that they were talking about in the book of Enoch, and with Nephilims, how they came down. You know, so
well,
I mean,
well, once again, see, once again, we can't. Hello, we can't do that with me because I study and read the book of Enoch. In fact, I think it's the first verse to let you know that Enoch was parables. So you might take it literal, but it says Enoch was full of parables. So I mean, you can believe that it was. You can believe it was big Nephilims or whatever you said, but Enoch itself says it was parables. So I don't know, man. I think that I might do a lot of studying and a lot of reading, and some people don't. So it's overwhelming sometimes. I don't know.
Put those sci-fi books down, brother, and stick to the word, man.
I don't know.
It's been good debating you, bro. I had fun.
And for my people out there,
yeah, man. I'm about to go take a shower, man.
I would also. I would also. If for my people out there, I want to give. Can I give this last quote from Josephus for my people out there just listening? Because it's a lot of things that our people, man. Our people. We don't read. We don't do a lot of reading. We don't do a lot of reading and studying, and we try to take the Bible from an American mindset, forgetting that it was an Eastern mindset written thousands of years ago about things that happened thousands of years ago. Because at the end of the day, Daniel lets you know that nothing can go past the Fourth Empire, which was the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire was destroyed, year 476. So nothing you pull in the Bible, except the everlasting kingdom, can go past year 476 by default. People don't want to believe it. That's you, if you want to be a futurist. But us preterists, we understand that. Well, most of the full preterists, the partial preterists, they don't get it. They're more like partial and futurists. But I want to read something from Josephus also, because once again, Josephus was actually there. You know, he lived during the destruction of the temple.
It's coming, brother. It's coming, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm about to go take a shower.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, man.
And I'm gonna let you talk to the viewers, man. I enjoyed the debate, or whatever you want to call it, if it was a debate or whatever. I enjoyed it anyway, man. We need to do it again on another subject, man. So we can go ahead on and clarify some more things, because I want to talk about the Holy Spirit and walking right in Christ, and how I just really want to know how you got to the kingdom, man, and how everybody else still waiting on it, you know. So I really want to elaborate on that, man. And
I bet. And you can hang up, man, because I want to read this revelation to my viewers in order for just in case they have the same question.
And the son of perdition, man, is the Antichrist, man. You know,
there's no Antichrist.
Better Satan, brother.
There's no Antichrist. There's no Antichrist. I don't know where that comes from. There's no Antichrist.
All right, brother. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Viewers, love y'all, man. Hope y'all come to the truth and knowledge of Jesus Christ, man. Amen. See y'all later.
All right. Shalom. All right. So now I want to hit this how we come to the kingdom thing real fast. As y'all can tell, it's kind of hard to. It's easy when people want to be sarcastic and stuff, because I can have fun with that. But it's easier than it seems when you actually get into that lion's den, because you can deny it or not, but preterists, full preterists, like, remember he kept saying, you got all the answers? No, the Bible gives all the answers, and you can go to secular history and prove the Bible. But for preterists, we pretty much got the understanding, because we didn't went in there and studied and believed the Bible said. But Revelation 22, 14 to 15, this happens after the new heavens and the new earth. This happened once again This happens after the great white throne judgment, after the new heavens and earth. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and adulterers, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So after the new heavens and the new earth, there were still people outside of the city. And they were considered dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. This is Bible. This ain't no fantasy novel that people came in with their own ideology and tried to explain what the Bible actually means. Just read the Bible and believe it. And I actually got my understanding from the Bible, and Mr. William Bell actually guided me, and he helped me throughout the path, and he's still helping me today. But just know that I believe the Bible and I trust the Bible, and as y'all can tell, I can go into different documents. Unlike your normal preterists, I can actually go into different documents and prove everything. See, I didn't even hit the second Ezra. I didn't even hit second Ezra. I mean, I can hit that in just a second, but I want to read this quote from Josephus. Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, chapter 10, book 10, chapter 11, section 7. And that from among them there shall arise a certain king, and shall overcome our nation and their laws, and should take away our political government, and should spoil the temple, and forbid the sacrifices to be offered for 3 years' time. You remember in Daniel 70 weeks, the sacrifices and the oblations would cease, right? In Daniel 70 weeks. This is a prophecy about the time of the end, correct? So let's keep reading. And indeed, it so came to pass that our nation suffered these things under Antiochus Epiphanes, according to Daniel's vision, and what he wrote many years before they came to pass. In the very same manner, Daniel also wrote concerning the Roman government, that our country should be made desolate by them. All these things did this man leave in writing, as God showed them to him, insomuch that such as read his prophecies and see how they have been fulfilled. See, it says it right here. See, I don't know if y'all can see it. I'm trying to get as close as possible. Let's see. Y'all see that? I got it underlined. His prophecies have been fulfilled. So how did Josephus know that Daniel's prophecies was fulfilled 2,000 years ago, but people today in America don't know Daniel's prophecy has been fulfilled and want Daniel's prophecy to be fulfilled in our future? It just doesn't make sense. I'm sorry that I believe the Bible and I can find history to back it. That's what the book says. Deal with it. So now, the last thing is with this Ezra's. And then I can call it quits, because once again, you can't debate truth. You can't. You only can say a bunch of things. And y'all notice how the debate was going. It was a bunch of reading scriptures and giving opinion breakdowns, and then I went into the scriptures to show where the scriptures is pulling from and all that stuff. So now, let's go into second Ezra real fast, because once again, I went into Enoch, the book of Adam and Eve. I went into the history book. So now let's go into the Apocrypha also. And I went into the Bible also to show when Christ said it was going to happen. I went into Matthew. I went into Luke. I went into Revelation. I went into Daniel. I went to Zechariah. So now let's go into second Ezra. Second Ezra is 14, and I'm going to start at verse 9. For you shall be taken up from among men, and henceforth you shall live with my son and with those who are like you, until the times are ended. For the age has lost its youth, and the times begin to grow old. For the age is divided into 12 parts. So in second Ezra, the mindset of those people in second Ezra was around what? King Xerxes was that year 3400 year 400. I think that's year 400, year 404 AD. And I have my, I guess I can show y'all real fast. Y'all see, I have my biblical world chart with all of the dates right there. Y'all should get one. It's like $20. I got it offline, but it actually gives all of the dates of what things was going on. But anyway, around 404 BC, this is what it says. For the age has lost its youth, and the time began to grow old. For the age is divided in 12 parts, and 9 of its parts have already passed, as well as half of the 10th part. So now, in Ezra's time, which is 404 BC, 9.5 parts of the age had already been done with. So that leaves 2.5 parts before the end of the age. So how can 9.5 parts be what, a little under 4,000 years? But 2.5 parts be 3,000 years. Once again, how can 9.5 parts be 4,000 years, but 2.5 parts be 3,000 years? That math don't even add up. The math makes no sense. So even in Second Ezra's time, around 400 BC, they understood that it was only 2.5 parts left before the age was consummated, which aka first century. That's another one. Second Ezra's. That shows you that the time of the end, the consummation of the age, was expected to happen during the first century under the Roman Empire. So, I mean, what more can I pull? I mean, I can pull. I mean, what more do we want? I done went into King James Version. I done went into Septuagint. I done went into the Jewish Roots Bible. I done went into Josephus. I done went into the PDF. I done went into Enoch, Second Ezra's. What else I got? The Book of Adam and Eve, the fall and decline of the Roman Empire. I mean, I think I did what I'm supposed to do to bring to a debate in order to show my understanding. So, if you don't have that same drive, then quit trying to debate us, man. And plus, I'm an advocate of the new covenant. We are in the new covenant. All things have been fulfilled. And I was wondering if anybody, I can't see y'all questions for some reason. I'm pretty sure I got some people out there saying some things. So let's see if I can actually get to them. Because I mean, we got some preterists on the chat, so I'm pretty sure they was given a lot of the information. And the reason why I didn't tell the brother who they were saying was that John guy was the son of perdition, because Mr. William Bell actually hit on that. Was it Sunday or Saturday? I think it was no. I'm sorry. He hit on it last night, and I tagged Pedro name in it. And if he didn't listen, he didn't listen. So I wasn't gonna go through it and name it again because we just hit it last night. So let's see here. Who else we got? He just cussed me out. I don't know what's going on here. This guy is one that has the mouth that speaks great things and like a man. I hope he wasn't talking about me. And what he was talking about, the fulfilling the Deuteronomy 28 account. I don't know what he's talking about. The end of the world came. There you go. Go live, young. Raymond Hogan's. I've been trying to debate that guy forever. He never would debate because he just wants to get on. He just want to get on live and just talk crazy. I mean, he just want to get on and leave crazy comments like he want people to air because he's from GLCC, and they tell them that Christ is coming back, and then they need to flee and go over into Africa somewhere in the wilderness. And I mean, I used to follow GLCC, so no. Once you read the Bible, you realize that this happened 2,000 years ago. So all that fleeing and stuff that you're running from, you're just doing it just to do it because it's not biblical. So I think that's it. It don't seem like nobody else is saying anything. I see I have a few viewers out there. But all that I wasn't answering questions and stuff. I don't see how I want to answer the question. I was giving them the 100% truth. If the mystery of iniquity was working in the first century, and we don't know who that is, then why would we know who the son of perdition is? Ain't these like almost the same people? But I'm not a Thessalonian. I didn't live 2,000 years ago. Paul wasn't writing me. I mean, I didn't know what to look for. He didn't say, hey, Elvin in Mississippi, 2019, this is for you. Look for this. He told the Thessalonians, he was talking to Timothy first about certain things, and then he was talking to the Thessalonians about certain things. They was telling people that the resurrection had already occurred before the destruction of the temple. They was doing that Judaism stuff, saying that everything that Christ said has already happened. So of course people was erring from the faith because they was like, man, this stuff happened already before the temple was even destroyed. Then that means we was following a false Messiah. So since they was following a false Messiah, of course they were erring from the faith. That's the whole setup of what was going on. If you want to get into details, but you got to read the Bible. But hey, it's great, man. I love these debates, man, because I love having fun, man. Because at the end of the day, people start laughing and trying to insult you because they realize once you can keep pulling knowledge on top of knowledge on top of knowledge on top of knowledge, then you're good. So by default, what they say preterism, like I said, I feel like I'm a Hebrew, so I like all Hebrew documents. I like the Book of Enoch. I love the Book of Enoch. I see the Book of Enoch all throughout the Bible, actually. In fact, people, some of the scholars say the Book of Enoch seems more of a Christian book because it talks a lot about the Messiah. So you got the Book of Enoch, the Book of Adam and Eve. I just like to know their mindset in the 7th century. The Apocrypha, that's more. People say that's more of a Christian book, especially Second Esdras. So, anything else before I need to go? Anybody got anything else they want to bring to the table or say? Because you know, I'm not cocky, man. I just like having fun. This is my personality, y'all. I'm sorry if it seems I'm cocky, but this is my personality. I love this. I enjoy it. Mr. Moore, thank you for listening in, brother. Thank you for listening in. I'm looking at my other screen to see who I was here because I can't see the comments on here. Albert Chief Levite Smith, hopefully that you got some of the things that you want to answer. I don't know if you did. Mr. Chris, thank you for your commentary. Mr. William, thank you for your commentary. Raymond, yeah. Let's see who else is on here. Mr. Israel Prince, in the kingdom there's no sin. So you're saying you're not in sin, right? Inside of the kingdom, we have a lot of grace and faith. So, anything that I do and fall from the glory, I have the blood of Christ there, right there with me, to say, son, do right. You got to get better. But I don't leave the kingdom. No, sir. And the reason why you're in sin is because people have taught you that you're in sin and you're not in the kingdom. You're being counterproductive to yourself. You're being counterproductive to Christ. Just because you let people talk you out of the grace. Right, Brother John. How you doing, Brother John? He said if they are laughing, it's because they are happy to learn more. Well, good then. that was a good one. But y'all, what more can y'all say? What can I say? And I guess I can show y'all just in case y'all want to pick up some of these things before I go. I got my Book of Josephus, just in case y'all want to pick up some stuff. Book of Josephus, and this is my bad boy, and this royal blue is my King James Version Bible. Oh yeah. Then I have my Complete Jewish Study Bible. And then I have my One Man Bible, Revealing the Jewish Roots. Actually a good Bible. I like it. I'm gonna dig real deep into it. Then my regular Apocrypha, right? I don't know. I guess I overly prepared for the debate, but the brother's very intelligent. He stays in the library all the time. I'll be checking his posts, so I had to be ready. Then I have my Septuagint with the Apocrypha. I didn't get to dive into this because I just got it, but it's standing beside me because I just put my Philo. Where did I pull from my historical reference? I got my Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire by Gibbon. People don't even think the Roman Empire has failed. I guess this book is about blank pages then. And then I have my Book of Adam and Eve and my Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher. And they said banned from the Bible. That is it. And then I got my, y'all know I got my 900 and something word PDF, 976 pages or so PDF pulled up also, which I can find a lot of the information that I could have walked through. So I see, Pedro, since you're back on, Pedro, I see that you're still on. Oh, this will be interesting. And y'all, also some things that I know y'all tired of listening to me talk. But some other things that I could have went through, right? A lot of people don't understand how important Matthew 24 was, right? They don't understand that Christ was given real life prophecies to look forward to. They think that he was just talking, you know what I'm saying, about our future events. So I have a PDF, and if y'all all want it, just email me inbox me your email address, and I can send it to you. It has a lot of information in it. Pretty much, it can give you the whole breakdown of the Bible, dealing with prophecy. It breaks down a lot of the prophecies. You do the research to find out if it's true or not. But I want to see if I can find it real fast. Matthew 24 in detail about some of these events that Matthew 24 was talking about. Because Matthew 24 is actually found throughout history. That's right, history. So, man, it's so much. Let's see if I can find it real fast, y'all. It's over 900 pages. So let me scroll through it real fast. See, I put together this PDF with all the commentaries just for reasons of debates and stuff. If we want to keep it just 70 AD, I don't have to go past this PDF. Let's see here. So much stuff I can get into detail, but I want to just find my timeline. I have a regular timeline I can go through. I mean, just how I can pull stuff from Revelation so fast, y'all. And I'm not trying to bore y'all. I'm just trying to get to my timeline real fast. So much information to go through. I mean, it'll take you a few months just to go through all this information, and you can see it yourself. I think this is it right here. Scroll up a little bit. We got the historical dates. I gotta do this better, I guess. What's the timeline? I don't even know what I named it under. Let's see here. We got the 7 trumpets. We got Daniel. We got the prophecies of. We got the nations, the great tribulation, the unveiling of the 7 omens of destruction, the end of the Jewish system. Man, I don't know, man. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, man. Tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it. So much stuff to go through. And I just had it pulled up during the debate though. Well, I just read one thing I got. Okay, fulfilled. A preterist view and commentary of Matthew 24 and 15. The abomination that causes desolation fulfilled. So I'm just going to read some of the information that I have. The Olivet Discourse described in Matthew 24 is also found in Luke 21. Luke 21, 20 through 21 records Jesus' prediction in Matthew 24, 15 through 18, slightly differently. When you see Jerusalem being surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let those in the city get out, and let those in the country not enter the city. Notice that instead of saying, so when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, Luke 21:20 records Jesus saying, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. In Luke 21:20, instead of saying abomination that causes desolation, Luke appears to define this term as armies that cause desolation. Now y'all seeing where I get some of my information from, correct? Y'all see the details that I get into with the great interpretation and the explanation. Also now, Roman legions and various ensigns. Graven images and idols and foreign gods are an abomination according to the law of Moses. The Roman army always carried its ensigns wherever it went. These ensigns were military standards. The main ensigns, the Aquila, was an idol of Aquila, the messenger of Jupiter, that carried Jupiter's lightning bolt to the Titans during the war between the gods and Titans. The Aquila was also a symbol of Rome itself. There was also an ensign called the Imago, which was a three-dimensional image of Caesar, which looked like a large Roman icon. These ensigns was worshipped by the Roman army and thus were more than just military standards. They were also idols. Therefore, the Roman army, with their idols of Jupiter, Caesar, and Rome on the ensigns would have been considered an abomination according to the law of Moses. The Roman army is called the abomination that causes desolation because the abominable army literally caused the desolation of Israel during the Jewish war. Y'all got it? So now, how can I back that information up? You know what I'm saying? This is what I enjoy. This is what I do, y'all. Book of Josephus. Once again, Josephus, first century historian, first century priest. He was actually an Israelite, guys. He lived during the siege of Jerusalem between 66 to 70 AD. Can I tell y'all something first about the remember Daniel's prophecy? The daily sacrifice will be stopped, right? Let's read it. The War of Jews, Book 6, Chapter 2, Section 1. And now Titus gave orders to his soldiers that were with him to dig up the foundation of the tower of Antonia and make him a ready passage for his army to come up, while he himself had Josephus brought to him, for he had been informed on that very day, which was the 17th day of Pentemus, which is Tammuz. The sacrifice called the daily sacrifice had failed and had not been offered to God for want of men to offer it, and that the people were grievously troubled at it. So now we have Josephus recording the stop of the daily sacrifice. Let's see here. Where else can we go? I'm not going to go through all of this. I just want to pull. I want to pull that abomination of desolation. See, I have a lot of information that I could have pulled, but I didn't because some things are debate material, some things are actually teaching, studying material. So when I'm in debate, I don't bring out my teaching, studying material. All right, because y'all know me, know that sometimes I had to go through it because I got it everywhere. So let's see. Let's find this abomination of desolation. I think it was in chapter 6. Right. The War of Jews, book 6, chapter 6, section 1. All right, y'all, let me just read it. And now the Romans, upon the flight of the seditious into the city, and upon the burning of the holy house itself, remember, he was supposed to burn. Remember, the prophecy was the Most High was going to burn those evil individuals with fire this time. First, the ungodly man left with water. Second time, the ungodly man was supposed to left with fire. These ungodly men was actually the people of God, the children of God, Israel, who denied the covenant. So now, the sedition, and upon the burning of the holy house itself, and all of the buildings round about it, brought their ensigns to the temple. So we just read about what the ensigns were, correct? And set them over against its eastern gate. And there did they offer sacrifices to them. And there did they make Titus imperator with the greatest acclamations of joy. So the Roman army took their ensigns inside of the temple and started offering sacrifices to them. So how many more abominations of desolation do you need to see in the first century? Okay? I mean, this we can go forever for this. And that's what Matthew 24, what's that? 16? So I mean, I have a lot of information, but I actually had a timeline. I got the information about the 1,290 days and the 1,335 days of Daniel. I got that information in detail. And I'm not going to get off of here, y'all. Y'all can go ahead and exit off, but I'm not going to get off of here until I find what I was looking for. And just for everybody that wants to know and wants to see, I'm on my computer right here. I don't know if y'all can see it or not, but I got the PDF that I created up, and I'm going through the information trying to see where I left this timeline at. And like I said, if you want the information, just let me know. With this PDF right here, you pretty much can debate anybody about the time of the end, just with this PDF by itself. And just don't let them pull you from your view and your points, because people want to do a lot of straw man arguments, or whatever they call it. They want to do a lot of arguments that throws you off of what you're talking about. Don't let them do that. Come right back to what you're talking about. That's how understanding comes out. Because when a lot of people start realizing that maybe they are in error, it's human nature to go back to a happy place, which you're happy with, and go off with. You know what I'm saying? So don't let them throw you off course, and stick by your guns. But you also got to keep doing a lot of reading and stuff also, because if you stop with your education, talking with people are going to be able to tell. So you got to know just a little of your stuff. Here we go. I found it. Here we go. So now, finally found it. And everybody, let me show you the screen. All right. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Y'all see it? Yeah, I think y'all see it. Let's see here. Y'all see this Matthew 24, right? Verse 6. And as you can tell, I go down each verse showing the historical setting and biblical setting of each prophecy that Christ gave. And guess what? Every single one of them occurs during the first century under the Roman Empire. Year 2019 or above is in none of this. Not one. As once again, I can prove. So, and I know the brothers didn't know about them seeing the angels of the Most High actually riding on the clouds surrounding the cities in first century. I know the brothers didn't know that part. A lot of people don't know, but us that read, we know that. So, I mean, this is all good. The brother said, where is that in the Bible? Well, Christ was given a prophecy about 70 AD. all of the Bible was written before 70 AD. So you're not going to see anything about 70 AD inside of the Bible because every scripture was written before it. So how can an event that happened in 68, 69, 70 AD be inside of scriptures that was written in 64, 65 AD? Just doesn't make sense. But this is what we call logic. This is logical. We got to use logic inside when we deal with the Bible. We got to use logic. You know what I'm saying? Some things that you want to see, you're not going to see. We got to use logic. So now I'm just going to go through just a few of these, right? Just a few. And then I'm going to call it a night. Matthew chapter 24. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Commentary. The Roman emperors Nero, Galba, Otho, and Vitellius suffered violent deaths in only 18 months. The first century Jewish historian said in Antiquities 18:5 and 3, the Bardanes, and after him Vologes, declared war against the Jews. He says that the Vitellius, governor of Syria, declared war against Artus, king of Arabia, but the death of Tiberius presented the war. So you have the wars and rumors of wars right there. And then you can go in Josephus also when they start talking about they can't believe that the wars was finna happen. And you can go into Philo when Philo was saying that, because I actually looked over that today for a second. I didn't get to study it, but he said that this was during Rome's time of peace, they started having wars. I mean, rumors of wars. All right, now, verse 7. And there should be famines and pestilences. Historians record that 30,000 died in Rome alone during one famine. The Bible mentions in Acts 11 and 27 a great famine during the reign of Claudius in 41 through 54 AD. Well, let's see if we can pull that real fast. Acts 11:27, which was written after Christ died. So this is a prophecy that Christ gave, as we can actually see it once again being fulfilled in the Bible. Acts 11:27 says, and when he found him, he brought him into Antioch. And it came to pass that the whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. And in these days came prophets from Jerusalem to Antioch. And there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world when it came to pass, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar. So we see the famine being done and prophesied in Acts 11:28. So that great famine, let's see here, Matthew 24. That famine is prophesied in Matthew 24. We see in Acts 11, which is getting the ball rolling for the time of the end. Let's see. And earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Historians record 5 earthquakes around this time period. Crete, 46 AD, Rome, 51 AD, Alpamia, 53 AD, Laodicea, 60 AD, Campania, 62 AD. The Bible mentions 2 earthquakes in Jerusalem, Matthew 27:51, 28:2, and Acts 16:26. Well, let's go to Acts 16:26 since we're already in Acts. Acts 16:26. Acts 16:26 says, and suddenly there was a great earthquake, so the foundations of the prisons were shaken. Immediately all of the doors was open and everyone's bands were loosed. Well, you got the earthquakes in diverse places. Well, we're seeing a couple fulfillments actually in Acts, aren't we? Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. The first wave of persecution occurred in Palestine at the hands of the Jews, which was true. The second came at the instigation of Jewish leaders in the diaspora and unhappy pagans. Third wave began in 64 AD under Nero, who blamed Christians for the burning of Rome. 11. And many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. Josephus tells us the land was overrun with magicians, seducers, and impostors, who drew the people after them in multitudes into solitudes and deserts. In deserts, to see signs and miracles, which they promised to show by the power of God. The tyrannical zealots who ruled the city, Jerusalem, suborned many false prophets to declare that aid would be given to the people from heaven. This was done to prevent them from attempting to desert, flee the city, and inspire confidence in God. Wars, Book 6, Chapter 5, Section 2 and 3, I believe. That's what it's saying. Look, and I'm going to keep reading. I'm just going to read just along 3 more. Once again, I'm showing you Matthew 24, the prophecy about the time of the end, all being fulfilled in that first century generation. I'm showing it. I'm showing it. Let's go. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all of the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. The Bible tells us that this was fulfilled before the death of the apostles. Colossians 1, 5 through 6. Whereof ye heard before in the word of the truth of the gospel, which is come unto you, as it is in all the world, and bringeth forth fruit. So you got Colossians 1, 5 and 6 saying that the gospel was already in all of the world. Colossians 1 and 23. And be not moved away from the hope of the gospel, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven. So now we have every creature under heaven having the gospel. Colossians 1 and 23. Acts 2 and 5. Once again, we see another fulfillment in Acts. There were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. And we know that the nation saw the Spirit come, and 3,000 got baptized and all that stuff. So we saw that every nation heard that gospel under heaven. Romans 1 and 8. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for you all, that your faith is spoken of throughout the whole world. So the faith that came from the gospel was spoken out throughout the whole world, according to Romans 1 and 8, which Paul was also another witness to, which is also another proof that the whole world had received the gospel in the first century, another fulfillment under the first century, which is what? The Roman Empire, which is who? The fourth beast. So let's keep going. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand. The pagan Romans' army was the abomination which caused desolation, as Luke 21:20 says. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know the desolation thereof is not. When the Romans conquered the city of Jerusalem and entered it, their pagan soldiers entered the temple, defiling it according to the Jewish law, tore down Jewish ornaments and temple accoutrements, or whatever that is, accoutrements, I don't know what that is, and raised instead their Roman legion standards with pagan symbols on it. The abomination was fulfilled when Josephus tells us Roman standards and pagan symbols were brought into the temple and worship. And I actually just read that, so I don't have to read it again. Let's look at the word spoken of by Daniel the prophet. He shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease. We see that this is what the Jews did, and I actually read it out of Josephus. For the overspreading, now listen to this, for the overspreading of abominations with an S. So it was more than one abomination. It was a bunch of abominations that Daniel prophesied about. He shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So we have that prophecy being fulfilled, starting with the Jews and then with the Roman army, which is first century. The Jewish historian Josephus tells us this too was fulfilled. And now Titus gave orders to his soldiers that were with him to dig. I just read that the daily sacrifice was stopped. So I just read that. This is very remarkable day indeed, the 17th of Panamas Tammuz, AD 70, when according to Daniel's prediction, 606 years before the Romans, in half a week caused the sacrifice and oblations to cease. Daniel 9:27, from the month of February AD 66, about which time Vespasian entered on this war, to this very time was just 3 years and a half. Remember, Revelation times and a half, that's 3.5 years. AD 66 to 70 was 3.5 years that it took for the Roman Empire to overtake Jerusalem. This is the times and a half spoken of in Daniel as well as Revelation, all still pointing to the first century. I mean, y'all, we can do this all night. The Bible has been fulfilled, y'all. I mean, we can do this all night. I hate to tell y'all, but full preterists have the true understanding. I mean, it is what it is. Y'all can go into your camps and believe the lies that they tell you all day. You can wrestle with the scriptures all day trying to make, I haven't seen this happen. I haven't seen that happen. Well, the reason why you haven't seen it happen because it happened before you was born. It wasn't meant for you to see it. It's meant for you to read about it so you can understand the kingdom of heaven. It's not meant for you to visually see. That's not what the Bible's for. Real history book, y'all. Real life history. All right, now, verse 16. Then let them which are in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which are on the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house, neither let him which is in the field return to take back his clothes. Josephus says the Roman general Vespasian began to siege Jerusalem and set up pagan symbols in the temple. But hearing of the political tumult in Rome, returned to Rome to become the new emperor. He then sent his son Titus back to Jerusalem to finish the siege. And during the lull in the siege, Christians, alert to the wonders of Christ, fled into the mountains. So this is exactly what happened. In order, y'all didn't understand that. Vespasian was going to siege Jerusalem, right? And in the midst of him sieging Jerusalem, he heard about the tumult that was happening back in Rome. So he had to stop and turn around and go back to Rome. So the Christians that hears and understood Christ's prophecy, because they were speaking it to each other, said, hey, we see the abominations that cause desolations. How are we going to flee into the mountains? Because they're already here. They're already surrounding Jerusalem. Well, it stopped and they left. And when they left, the Christians, not the Jews that follow Torah under the Mosaic covenant, they stayed and got killed. The Christians who listened to Christ, who entered into that new covenant, who went through the baptism and all that stuff, they all believed Christ, fled into the mountains, went to Pella, and went all over Africa, all of that stuff. Went to the Isles of the Gentiles also. Those Christians, those first fruits, are the ones who listened to Christ and survive. These are the ones that Daniel said written in the book of life. These will be the ones written in the book of life that survive. These were what you guys that you're waiting to happen. These Christians actually, these Israelites, these Christians, Israelites, these Christians was the 144,000. You remember in Zechariah dealing with the 1/3 and the 2/3. 1/3 will survive, 2/3 will be cut off. These Christians that listen are the 1/3 that survived. The 2/3 was cut off. Welcome to the fulfillment of the Bible. So now let's keep going. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Christ lists 3 possible hindrances to flight. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Okay, so what's going on? You got the Roman Empire coming to destroy Jerusalem. Pray that once he give you a time to escape, you don't have any small children. Pray that you don't have to leave in the winter or on a Sabbath day. Small children, hindrance. Winter, hindrance. Sabbath day, they close everything. So y'all get it. For then shall be great tribulation, such as not was since the beginning of time, nor sure there ever will be. Josephus, all the calamities which had befallen any nations from the beginning of the world were but small in comparison with those of the Jews. Let me read that again, y'all. The statement from Josephus, first century priest, Israelite, Jew. All of the calamities which had befallen any nation from the beginning of the world were but small in comparison with those of the Jews. Prophecy, for then shall be great tribulation, such as not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor sure there ever will be. And I'm just gonna read just a few more, then I'll be done. And I'm going to read. Further, Josephus tells us that during the siege's grip, when there was no grain left, there were wholesale ransacking within the walls of Jerusalem. Food was so short that any locked door meant someone was eating the meal inside. Murderers would break down the doors, rush in, and grab the throats of those inside, hoping to seize a morsel of food from their throats. Whole families perished during the siege. Tomb robbing was rampant. Josephus mentions that he saw 600,000 bodies thrown out of the gates of the city. Y'all, 600,000 bodies thrown out of the gate. You know how many 600,000 bodies is? That's 600,000 people, y'all, that he was able to see get thrown out of the gate in 3.5 years. That's what you call tribulation. Okay, that's real tribulation. One deserter was caught with gold he swallowed to smuggle out of the city, suspecting that many Jews were attempting so. And one night, the Romans killed 2,000 Jews and ripped their stomachs open. Josephus tells us one mother who was so hungry that she roasted her infant son and ate half of him, offering the other half to her neighbor. In short, which we actually see that as a curse in Deuteronomy 28. In short, there was nothing in history to match the violence. Once again, in short, there has been nothing in history to match the violence, savageness, famine, pestilence, despair present in that day or in that siege of Jerusalem. All right, now, and except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. God tells us that the Roman armies would have almost completely exterminated the entire population, Christian and Jewish, of Jerusalem, if God had not provided a lull in the siege when Vespasian returned to Rome to become the new emperor. The Christian population, which is the elect, would have not been able to flee the destruction of the city. And if any man say to you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. Among the early churches, there were many false Christs and false prophets. For example, Irenaeus, who lived in 174 AD, tells us about the Nicolaitans, which are, we see them written of in Revelations, right? The Nicolaitans are the followers of the Nicholas, who were one of the 7 first ordained to the diaconate by the apostles, Acts 6 and 5. They led lives of unrestrained indulgence, teaching that it is a matter of indifference to practice adultery and to eat things sacrificed to idols. And then you go in Josephus, and he was talking about other people that were saying that they was the Most High and living blah blah blah. That for whatsoever the carcass is, there will be the eagles gathered together. The first century historian Jewish Josephus tells us Titus' Roman legions marched with standards or ensigns that bore the image of the Roman eagle on them. So we have that. So that's it. And then also, y'all can look at the legions that were in Jerusalem at that time. I believe one legion was a let me get it right. Was an eagle. One was a lion. One was a bear, I believe. It's something like that. It was the same images that he saw in Revelation dealing with the 4 heads. Y'all remember that beast that had the 4 heads? Well, these were the same ensigns that the Roman armies, those legions of the Roman armies that conquered Jerusalem had. Each 4 of them was a different legion, and there was 4 legions in Rome. Y'all can actually do the research for that. But once again, John was seeing a vision of what was actually happening. So he wasn't saying literal things. So when the brother says, when was Satan thrown inside of the hellfire? You're looking at a vision. You're reading a vision. These are symbolism for other things. These are not 100% literal. These are symbolism, symbolic. So we can say that this devil, this Satan, is not the real Satan. This is just simple. Just like this woman that was riding this dragon, she wasn't a real woman, and this wasn't a real dragon. Just like the dragon having in the stars, that wasn't a real dragon. Okay, the mystery Babylon was not really Babylon. Okay, all of the things. The bride coming down like a Jerusalem coming down like a bride ordained. Then we see Christ coming down like a bride ordained. This is all symbolic for the gospel and the Most High allowing Christ to bring the kingdom down to mankind through the gospel. I can keep going on and on, but that's teaching moments. We can't do that in debates. Accoutrements. Oh, thank you, Mr. Bell. I'm not good with all that. accoutrements, but I guess you know what that is, because I didn't know what it is. But that's why you're way more advanced and skilled than me. I keep it country, and I guess that's my downfall. I just say what it is and keep it pushing. So accoutrements, this might mess me up in my Hebrew class, but it is what it is. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. So I think I'm done. I think I done bored everybody to death. I think we see that the Bible actually can be explained in its historical context, leaving it in the first century. We don't have to go outside of the first century to see the time of the end. We don't have to go outside of the see Daniel be fulfilled, Zechariah be fulfilled, Malachi being fulfilled, Isaiah, the end of Isaiah being fulfilled, John being fulfilled, the things told to Timothy being fulfilled, Matthew being fulfilled, and so forth, so on. We stop at that fourth beast. We stop at that fourth beast and let our faithful Father do what He says He was going to do, and we reap the benefits. Period. All praises to the Most High. Hopefully, everybody learned something. Hopefully, y'all can go back and listen, look up things, or look at the comments that was left. Come study with us. That's my mentor right there, Mr. William Bell. And hopefully, we're just pushing this kingdom out. Talk to you a full preterist. From now on, talk to you a full preterist. If you don't talk to you a full preterist, then I'm coming until you talk to at least one full preterist, preferably Mr. William Bell. And if you want to talk to someone who deals in a lot more of the Hebrew books, like the book of Adam and Eve, and what's some more? The Assumption of Moses, and what's this other book I have? Second Baruch, and all that stuff. You can holler at me. They all saying the same thing. All right. Love y'all. Shalom.